Alright, what's good YouTube? Ben here from Health and Wealth to bring you this video which expands upon the topics I covered in part 1 of my new 3-part series, the Selling on Amazon series. 3 ways to sell on Amazon. Yeah, so basically when I watched that video while I was doing the editing and whatnot, I realized that there was just so many holes in that video that you were going to have to watch a lot of videos and do a lot of your own research in order to be successful doing basically arbitrage selling tactics on Amazon. So you could accurately call this video number 1.5 of that 3-part series because I feel like I need to cover some of those topics that I touched on in the last video more in depth so that way you can develop a full understanding of what needs to happen for you to be successful in arbitrage via FBA. So, the key takeaways, what I'm going to cover in this video. First, I'm going to cover creating a post on an existing post. Creating a posting of your own on an existing product post on Amazon. So, I'm going to cover basically how to add the product to your seller account, just give you a brief synopsis of that. Filling in the product information, what you need to know, as opposed to, all of the tiny little details. I'll probably do a full video on exactly how to post, but this isn't going to be one of those look at my desktop while I do a voiceover videos. Those, at least for me, I always found those to be quite boring and I could never really follow along, but I will do one given the demand for it. So if you guys need one of those, let me know, and I will get around to making one of those once the beef of this channel is complete. So I'm going to give you how to add it to your seller account, what you need to know about filling in the product information. I'm going to cover understanding fulfillment by Amazon versus FBM, so all the implications that that's going to have on your success while you're attempting arbitrage on Amazon. Talk about Amazon Prime status, and again your obligations for FBA versus FBM, the pros and cons of each. And then the next big takeaway that is probably going to be the most valuable information is going to be towards the end of the video, of course, right? Like the milk and the bread are on the back of the grocery store, so the best information is going to be towards the end of this video, is information about how to compete for sales on especially the buy box. I'm going to give you, just $1 million advice on the buy box that took me a little bit of time to figure out because I didn't understand the buy box, and I realized when I was watching my last video that I didn't do a very good job of explaining the buy box at all, and I said I was going to divulge more information, and now I'm going to, as promised. So, without further ado, get ready to absorb these words and this information like a sponge into your brain. Don't forget these things. I always have got it right here, I always have a composition notebook. I got a whole stack of them back there. I carry these with me. I used to bring them to work, I bring them to college. I always have a composition notebook which is more or less my own journal. I write the date and all the things I've learned that day. I suggest that you guys get started on that. I honestly should do a video inside the wealth playlist all about that because it has helped me tremendously just with setting and keeping goals and remembering things that were important throughout every day. But anyway, now is the time to start taking notes. So, the first thing I want to elaborate on from the last video. If you didn't watch that, you're going to want to go back and watch it. It's video 1 of the 3-part series, 3 ways to sell on Amazon. The first thing in this video is we are going to talk about the fact that you must find a product that is actually selling, that you will actually be able to sell. There's going to be a video on my channel at some point how to what my process is for finding products. It's not rocket science. It's more or less just putting the time in and being a student of Amazon and going on there and finding the right product. However, there's a ton of videos out there that exist that can help you through this, but you must first and foremost find a product, obviously, that actually sells on Amazon. It's crucial. The other thing that's again obvious, but I must mention it, is that you must be able to buy this product at a lower cost than what you can sell it for on Amazon with a comfortable profit margin, so that way you are actually making money doing this. Not just a little bit, but it needs to justify the time that you're putting into it. Okay? So those are obvious things. You have to find that optimized product that you can sell for a profit. And I mean, optimized too with the size for the shipping, the weight, the price range. You know, people sell all different range of expensive items, but there is a sweet spot, which again I have already touched on in other videos. So you found the product that you want to sell. Okay, you found this so-and-so seller is selling so-and-so product, and that's one I know I can get cheaper wherever. If it's in the clearance rack at a big box store, or if it's somewhere online that you found a good deal that you can buy them in bulk, whatever it is, you need to, that's the one. So what you're going to have to do is add that product to your inventory on your seller account. So the way you're going to do this is go to the existing post, take that product's UPC code and copy it. Go back to your seller account, and you're going to have to add a product. Then search by UPC code, paste your UPC code in there, and search, and then select it, select sell yours, because now you're selling your own version. It's the same exact one, so it's not your version, but you're now selling that product. So select sell yours, and then it's going to give you a field of information that you need to fill in about the product. You guys have filled in tons of online forms before, I'm sure, but the ones that the fields that are required have little asterisks next to them on this page. Those are the ones you have to fill in. You can leave everything else blank if you so choose. Okay, most of them aren't a big deal. There is one, however, and this is why I bothered to give you that whole spiel about how to add the product. There's one that is not required that, in my opinion, is required, and that is the condition notes box. Because buyers can see this very easily when they're shopping for products. It's right there. When they're looking at the different options on whose product to buy, they can see the condition notes right there. So if the guy who's already selling the product, or woman, sorry, who's already selling the product has a little condition note saying, hey, mine's new in the factory packaging, never opened, and yours is blank, well, people are going to steer towards the one that has a nice professional little note saying about the condition of the product. You're going to want to write in there whatever you want, but say, my product is new, it is still sealed in the factory packaging, never opened, straight from the manufacturer. Okay? It's worth it. That's why I bothered to say this. Fill in that one non-required field at least that says condition notes. Everything that you're doing here is just trying to increase your odds a little bit. Okay? I'd like to compare this to the sport of baseball. Everything in baseball is just the odds. You're trying to increase your chances a little bit at a time, and those things are going to add up and make you successful. That's the name of the game. You're trying to increase your odds. So if you can fill in a little blurb about the condition of your product to increase your sales, obviously you're going to want to do that. Okay? The next thing that I want to cover, and this is how this flows too, this is the continuity of the whole thing, is inside of when you're typing in that information, it's going to ask if you want to fulfill the product yourself, or if you want Amazon to fulfill the order. That's what I meant. Fulfill the order yourself, or if you want Amazon to fulfill the order for you. So what that lingo is there is FBA versus FBM. Okay, and I'm going to explain that next. In the near future, I'm going to do a full video of FBA versus FBM, but this is what you need to know in order to be successful doing arbitrage. FBA, as we know, is fulfillment by Amazon. So you send the product to the Amazon warehouse, they pick, pack, and ship it for you. This is opposed to FBM, which is fulfillment by merchant, which means that you store the product, you pick, pack, and ship it, and you handle all of the customer service, the returns, and whatnot, as opposed to Amazon doing it for you. There's obviously pros and cons of both. There's reasons that you would want to do either or. I'm going to give you my opinion, and I mean, it's a strong opinion. It's more of a statement of fact and what you should do, as opposed to an opinion. Okay, an opinion sort of like someone could argue it. It's going to be hard to argue against me on this one, guys. You want to fulfill your orders with FBA, so you want Amazon fulfilling the orders for you. There's a couple big reasons for this. Again, It'll make more sense when it's over, but for now, when you use FBA, it makes your products Prime eligible. This is something I touched on in the last video and didn't do a good job of explaining. But when you're Prime eligible, it's going to make your conversion rate soar. Okay, you're going to be able to do, again, like another pro is that you're going to be able to do more big picture stuff instead of literally you're the guy taking the product and putting it in a box and sealing it up and putting a label on it and bringing it to the post office. You don't have to do that. Amazon does that for you. You can work on finding a new product. You're going to free up time. It's huge. It's huge that you use fulfillment by Amazon. The biggest reason, and as you'll see here soon, is that you're going to have Prime, which makes just a world of difference at getting the buy box and being successful at arbitrage. If you're going to just be competing over a post that already exists with one or more sellers also selling the same product, you really need Prime. So fulfillment by Amazon. If you're fulfilling by merchant, your product will not have the Prime label. So a lot of people, as they're searching on Amazon, there's a little checkbox. You can just only look for Prime items. I know I do that when I'm on Amazon. I only look at the Prime listings. So, you know, it's definitely important that you, again, have Prime when you're trying to do this. The downside of FBA, as opposed to a merchant fulfilling it yourself, is you do have to pay fees. So you're going to have to pay Amazon to pick, pack, and ship and store your product. Another potential downside is that you do lose some of the quality control because you're just taking it and you're having it shipped to Amazon, and you don't really know that the quality is there. That product could have been damaged, and that person that ships it doesn't pick up on the fact that it's damaged. It's out of your hands. So that's a downside. Again, I want to do a full video totally to give you guys a full understanding of FBA versus FBM, but understand these basics here for the sake of retail and online arbitrage. If you're fulfilling by merchant, again, that means that you're handling the shipping and the returns and everything all by yourself. This can be better in certain situations, largely because you're not having to pay any of the fees, and you can handle all the quality control yourself. It gives you a little bit more control over the total customer experience. Okay, everything is through you, so you get a little bit more, again, control over the entire sale as opposed to an FBA. And again, you get to make some more money, so slightly higher profits. That being said, if you do FBM, you're not Prime eligible, okay? Which is going to destroy you in arbitrage. It's going to make it almost, in my opinion, impossible. So the reason that it gives you Prime alone, it means that you should choose FBA when you're doing arbitrage, when you're selling an existing product, one that already existed on Amazon before you came along into the game. So it's huge because, okay, this is the because why FBA giving you Prime is such a big deal, is because it gives you a huge advantage when you're trying to win the buy box. And this is, in my opinion, the most valuable information in this video. Here it is, we made it towards the end, and now I'm going to give it to you. The buy box is crucial. 70 to 80% of all sales on Amazon come from the buy box, as opposed to somebody clicking on a listing and then scrolling on the bottom right and seeing all the other sellers that are selling a product and then selecting one of those. 70 to 80% of the time, it's the buy box. It's clicking on the product, clicking add to cart. Whichever one Amazon's algorithm determines is which seller gets to sell their product. So that's winning the buy box. It is, I mean, for what we're doing here in arbitrage, you need the buy box. So how do you win the buy box? You're asking, right? This will get its own video too in the near future, but we're getting rolling with arbitrage so that you guys could get started tomorrow if you wanted. Okay, so basically the winner of the buy box, again, is determined by Amazon's algorithm, which is basically just figuring out which seller is offering the buyer the best overall deal. So that's a combination of things. Largely, though, it is the price and the seller's reviews. So, you know, how many stars do you have? How many good versus bad reviews does each seller have? Those are the two things that are big in the algorithm The other thing that's huge is prime versus non-prime listings. So that, again, that's why we want to use FBA for this. We want to send our products to the warehouse and let Amazon take care of it and make our listing a prime listing. In addition to the fact that people might not even be looking at FBM listings to begin with. So a couple things that you might, just good things to know I'll touch on here real quick. The buy box, just because you have a cheaper price, and this is something I might have confused in the last video, just because you have a cheaper price doesn't necessarily mean that you get the buy box. Okay, there are those other factors that are going into it. The buy box is geographical, so if you're in PA, the buy box is going to pull from a seller whose product is stored in a warehouse near you in PA, as opposed to if you're in Texas, the buy box might be a seller who has their product stored in a warehouse in Texas. Okay, so it is geographical, so what you see here may not be what he sees there. Only new products, as far as I know and I've ever seen, only a new product can possess the buy box. So if you're selling used, you will not have the buy box. Somebody will have to scroll down and find your post and buy your used one. Also good to know is that the buy box does rotate between sellers. So if me and you are posting the same product, we're both posting whatever, a watch that's the same exact price, we both offer Prime, and we both have comparable sales history and reviews, then the Amazon is going to give you the first sale, me the next sale, you the next sale, me the next sale, you, me. It's going to cycle through. Say there's another guy that has, again, about the same quality of deal for the buyer, they're going to get thrown some sales too. So the fact that it cycles through kind of means that it may not be in your best interest to undercut the current listing. You might be better off just matching it, okay? Because if you start a big price war with the other sellers, everybody's kind of going to lose out. I mean, at the end of the day, you might win, but there's a good chance. I mean, that guy could be a millionaire. Money doesn't mean much to him. He can accept a smaller profit for his time, and he's willing to cut way cheaper. Well, you might have shot yourself in the foot and get stuck with a bunch of inventory. So it isn't always the best way to go just to undercut people. It might be in certain circumstances, but that's up to you. Okay? I just want to think if there was anything else I really wanted to say about that buy box. So again, I mean, having the lowest price doesn't necessarily mean you get it. Prime really matters. If I am selling via FBA and I have Prime on my product and you don't, even if you're 50 cents cheaper, or even I've seen $2 or more cheaper, doesn't mean that you get the listing. I will probably get the listing. It's very, very hard to beat somebody if you're fulfilling the order yourself versus them letting Amazon fulfill the order. Often the Prime seller will get precedence and win the buy box. So again, that's why when you're setting up the product listing for your arbitrage products, you're going to want to always fulfill by Amazon. In fact, I just always would, but that's me. There's some circumstances where hey, if you feel like doing that extra work and making a slightly higher profit off it, if you have the time and you're not running too many products yet, it might make sense for you to just fulfill it yourself, depending on what it is. But if you're doing arbitrage, retail or online arbitrage, as discussed in the last video, do FBA. Set the product up as FBA, and remember to fill in the condition notes. That about does it. I've pretty much covered all of the kind of finer points that I didn't cover in the last video about arbitrage. So now you kind of have developed a more complete toolkit of skills that you'll need to rake in the dough on Amazon, okay, when you get started using arbitrage. I hope that you gleaned some valuable information. You were able to absorb some of it. Maybe you took some notes in your composition books. I don't know if you guys can see, but I have days of notes. I write down everything. So that's a good pointer. I threw in one bonus pointer there at the end of the video. Anyway, again, hope that you learned something. If you did enjoy this video, if you did learn anything, please give me a thumbs up. Okay, it's sort of like just giving a round of applause at the end of the video. Why not? It's just a click, guys. Just click the thumbs up. It doesn't make a big difference to me. It just shows me that people are watching and liking what I'm doing, and it makes me motivated to do it again tomorrow. The thing that I do really need you guys to do is to subscribe. Okay, so there's obviously the box there. Hopefully, towards the end of the video, I'm bad at computers. Hopefully, it will appear here, a subscribe box. So please subscribe. That way I'm not getting on here and talking to myself every day when I'm making these videos. That way notifications are going out and I have a small group of people who are interested in hearing what I have to say. I would really appreciate you guys subscribing. I really truly appreciate you guys watching, because it makes me excited that I may be helping some of you, and that is what I'm all about. I'm not selling you anything on these videos. I am just giving free advice. So seeing some subscriptions starting to appear is making me excited. Seeing likes makes me excited. If you guys want to comment, that would be great. If you have any questions or anything to add that I forgot, I would really appreciate it. So one last time, I thank you so much. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. There should be a subscribe thingy appearing here, hopefully. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, and I wish you all health and wealth.